Hi, I'm Matt Mills, and in today's segment, we're going to work on the second step on how you teach your horse how to spin. Now, the focus on this second step is going to be on how your horse is actually spinning. We'll do a little bit of a review on step one, where we got the horse to really understand what it's supposed to do to stay in the spin. Now we want to maybe improve the quality of that step, or the cadence, how that horse's legs are moving, which, believe it or not, we can actually control a little bit. And later on, when we move on to the final step, that's going to directly influence how much speed we can get out of that horse.
All right, so we're ready for the second step. Step one, quick review. We know that horse through shoulder control and our legs, that we can get them in that spin and they'll stay in there, and they understand that's the best spot to be. Now, you should have seen your horse's footwork's probably already improved a little bit, but now let's try to improve it a little bit more. We're going to do that by working on some collection, positioning with your hands and your legs. So I'm going to take this horse out in a trot, Colonel here, jog him a little bit, make sure that he responds to my cues outside of the spin. We don't want to go in the middle of the spin and then find out, oh yeah, he doesn't respond well if I pick my hands up. And it's not necessarily that not necessary that they're perfect as far as positioning. No horse is perfect, but you want to see where you're at, and then only ask for what you have outside of the spin. Okay, so we're in the spin, double checking step one. He's in there confidently. Now I'm going to pick up. Why would I do that? Maybe work on his footwork a little bit. Maybe like to get his rib cage over a little. And if nothing else, I'm acclimating him to my movement of my hand, because when I go show in the reining or horsemanship or whatever you do, you're going to move your hand every now and then on purpose or not. You want that horse to accept it. Once he gets where I want, I release, and at that point I'm checking step one again, meaning he should not only drop his head and stay in position footwork wise, but he should keep his feet moving at any point. If he loses that, it's your job to go back to that first step and get it solid again.
This second step's real important to me because, I'm out there showing in the reining, and, it's human nature. When we go out and, we're competitive, you're going to get a little anxious, sometimes nervous, and you're going to make a mistake every now and then. So I want to teach that horse to where he can, any situation comes up and he's okay with it. So if I'm practicing handling the horse's mouth and using my legs, if I go out in the show ring and I make a little mistake, or maybe cue a little too hard or pull a little too much, I've done my homework at home, and that horse is going to be totally comfortable with what I'm asking him to do, and no one will even know that there was ever an issue.
Good. Going the other way now. See how I pick up and how that horse really rounds his back. His feet get a little cleaner, meaning that inside front leg steps back, which allows a lot more clearance for that outside leg to come through. And then obviously the inside pivot foot is going to hold. Now, if you're having a little problem with that pivot foot, you may need to work on getting your horse off of your leg a little bit better, letting him understand that when you put a leg on like that right one there, that you're to move away laterally. And then also stay under control by being able to handle their head position as well. And we'll go back in and double check. Notice how slow and soft I am. Good. Horse is relaxed. Now when you're working on this second step, I think it's important to make sure you have leg gear on. You really should have it on all the time, but notice I've got a classic equine knee boot, polo wraps, and bell boots, just to make sure we're safe, especially on this second step when we're changing their footwork some. They sometimes will bang their knees, and that'll be a reason why they wouldn't want to spin, and that makes sense, because if it hurts, you don't want to do it. Now we're doing a little counter bending here. I'm working on pushing his hip to the outside, and I'm also flexing his nose to the inside some. You'll see on the right spin, everything's pretty good, but he naturally wants to have his head off to the left just a little bit. Now in the end, that might just be who he is, and that's okay, because this still looks pretty good. But this second step allows us to work on it some. They're nice and relaxed, and we'll stop, let him rest. Now we're ready to try this in one hand. Okay, we're gonna go. Felt something there. We're going to go flex him to the left some, work on that on his nose, just keep him nice and relaxed. It looks like he felt a little antsy right there for a second, so I'm just reestablishing the connection with my hands and my legs. If I pick up and pull, you give, and when you give, I release, just making it real clear. Pay attention to your horse's body language. If you feel like the horse is getting a little bit antsy or confused, frustrated, stop. take a little bit, you know, a few seconds, couple minutes, and get them back on track and calm and confident again. There. That little brief pause there, intermission, I think allowed us to get right back on track. Good. You can pick my hand up, bridle him, and you notice the footwork never changes. We'll walk out of the spin. We'll try to make more of our corrections out of the spin if possible, because going back to step one, we want them to like being there. And I'll tell you on some of those finished horses, the reason why they start to get bad attitudes is because we work on the position and always asking for more in the spin, that it becomes way more desirable to be out of it. We want to reverse that. We'll go back to the left, pick up. Notice I have my inside leg off of the horse. Don't want to confuse them. I want the door open for them to go that way. If I use any leg, it's the outside leg. Good, very good. Nice and relaxed. Now it takes a lot of practice to get to this position, but you can get there.
All right, so now we've just finished step two. You should start to feel like a master now in that spin. Everything should be nice and relaxed. Your horse is comfortable. You should be getting comfortable from all the reps, and you're actually working on how that horse is spinning. You should feel the footwork starting to clean up. Everything should feel like it's starting to come together, and now you're ready for that final step.